Hello everyone, Dan 14 Prime here. I want to do a video share out today with you guys with the Hot Toys Justice League Aquaman figure. He's finally arrived here, so we're closer and closer to completing our Justice League team. Seen flashes out overseas, and he'll probably be the last one we'll get because Cyborg looks like he will be a no-go. But we'll take what we can get with these DC characters. I guess Aquaman here, probably going to be the least impressive of the Justice League overall, in my opinion. Popping this guy in the box, kind of underwhelming, I must say, in terms of design, and really just nothing pops out at you. There are some interesting aspects to the figure, which I'll highlight. The head sculpt's pretty good. The overall suit, deco, and how they pulled that off looks pretty good, particularly on display. You get it closer in hand, you'll notice some knits, some odd things with how they put the torso together. There's also no waist articulation, and the pack out overall is pretty light. Pretty much what you see there in front of you is what you get. So I really just got this guy to complete the Justice League. As a figure overall for me, it's definitely on the lower end of impressiveness in terms of Hot Toys products. But let's jump in closer and check them out. So if we step back wide angle here on Aquaman, just kind of give you the overview. You can see they've done the molded hair. I think all the accenting color looks good. We'll look in closer on that. The suit, he's got like these plastic bits, kind of shoulder forms, with the whole torso section down into this cod piece. He's got these overlaid thigh armors and then the lower leg as well. And underneath, he's got kind of what you'd expect with sort of those, I don't know, pleatherish, I'll call it, kind of suits on the legs, and then sort of rubberized up here on the arms. So a lot of the suit is, molded and plastic and well detailed, I think. And it's just a dark green with the gold accents over the top. Just give you a profile view there. You can probably see how the hair kind of comes around the shoulder, kind of to the front and into the back. So of course that's going to limit your head articulation. Around back of the figure here, you see a lot of the hair. And again, it's kind of nice how it goes dark to light to really kind of golden at the ends. You see the most of the pantsuit material here in the back. And this profile of the figure, really not much different than the other. I will add, just from the front, if I didn't mention, the way this torso is kind of built in the arms. He's always got this sort of arms out, muscle head sort of pose with the, like my back's too huge kind of look, because you just can't get the arms past this upper torso piece to come down more naturally. Jumping in here on the head sculpt, it's pretty good. There's good likeness there, the Jason Momoa, but at the same time, it doesn't blow me away, so it's, it's maybe a 7-8 head sculpt. I felt the eyes are a bit beady, and they really need a lot of light to get that nice gloss, almost glass look, like how Hot Toys does to make their eyes so realistic. They didn't look as good in hand, but with all the light in front of them now, I've seen them shining a bit better. Again, the molded hair from dark all the way down to golden. It's fine, I'm not surprised. Again, it's one area where I think because this figure doesn't come with a lot, nothing really kind of amazing about it overall, I would say. They could have been a bit more ballsy there. Tried to do rooted hair. I know it's not easy, has its own challenges sometimes, but maybe that would have been something to really kind of just make the figure something special. But they played it a bit safer here, and I get that. And I don't mind, really. I mean, the hair does look good. Well textured, well colored and painted all the way through. And if we kind of pan down the figure here, again, this molded plastic torso, you see a lot of good just detail and paint through there, paint application, all that gold accenting coming through. Looks really good. Then the forearm gauntlets there, you can see, got the nice little flare piece off the forearm, the cod piece there. This thing really seems to be just almost glued or something to the waist because the waist doesn't move, and this seems to sort of be some separation point or something. So maybe be careful of that. And we'll just show you a couple things while we're here. These shoulder pieces just sort of, come off on a hinge. You can see there, just to help get this out of the way for articulation, which I'll show a bit later, but it's good. And then this piece I hate, this torso. I've never seen anything like this on a Hot Toy. It reminds me more of like a pack figure or something, but he's got this separated upper torso piece. And they do an okay job with filling it all the way up so you don't get too big a gap, but you definitely get some spacing in there, as you can see. And it also just sort of looks funny, quite frankly. It really sort of breaks up the line of the torso and makes it look a bit disconnected. So I find that a bit strange, a bit unsightly. And then here we'll just jump down and spin the rest of the way down there. The cod piece really blends in well with the pants. Again, that's like plastic or something. It blends in well with that pleatherish material. See that thigh armor, again, plastic overlaying pieces. Kind of some knee connecting armors there as well, which help with spacing the articulation out down into the boots, which have a nice sort of wrap look to them. And really some good weathered effect into kind of like all the creases and lines that would be in the boots. I'll show you one profile shot here closer up as well. You can see how that hair wraps around, kind of the shoulder piece, down into this, again, this arm piece here, kind of more rubberized material, a bit loose around the arm actually. Down into that gauntlet. One nit on these gauntlets, unless it's me and I've been fidgeting with this, is I can never perfectly hide the black ball peg. It's always just the way the gauntlets cut right there, as well as on the other side. You always see a little bit of the black ball peg there, which annoys me. And then here I'll just get an arm up out of the way so you can kind of take a look through the torso, through the side, and how that just flows through to the back. It does look good. And then again here I just jump down to give you the lower leg section. You can see the armor, thigh armor come around the side. Yeah, nice molding and kind of plastic work and paint work is really one of the highlights of the figure. You can see down into that boot as well. All kinds of good axing up through the side of that boot. And finally here we'll pan down the back. Again, a lot of nice texture in the hair. You can see that. You can really see how it separates. They even put some kind of like holes and stuff in, in the molded plastic to give it some spacing. So it looks, it looks pretty good. A lot of good detail through the back. I mean, just all the way around this figure. Just this, all these gold accenting off of this green. Definitely when you kind of pick through all the details, it looks sharp. When you kind of step back, you just lose a lot of that because it's all so fine. And then lastly here, just, the back of the figure, you see most of this kind of pleather pant up close. See how the plastic back piece just kind of comes through, with this being its last point. The pants kind of go up under into it. You don't really see many seams. He's got kind of a butt crotch seam there, but otherwise all well, put together, so you don't really notice a lot of the pieces coming together. Back of the thighs open up a little bit there, and then the back of the boots, those accents kind of come back across the calves, and a lot of good dark shading in there as well. Let's go through his goodies here up next, and again, he doesn't come with a lot, so here you've got his mother box, and all the Justice League figures are coming with this kind of 2-inch cube is what it is. And you can see this nice kind of silver green color. This pattern is sort of all sides of the cube. So you get that, of course. So the figure only comes with 6 total hands, so 3 pairs. You get a pair like this, which is for holding the Trident, with the slightly open grip. One is on the figure. So one of those for each hand. Again, I've got one of these on the figure, but it's kind of a slightly opened, relaxed hand. Again, these are nice. They've got like this nice gold wrap effect going across the palm there and across the back, which of course just blends into the gauntlet. And the third pair is just a simple pair of fists. And it's closed up all the way around there. Pretty standard issue for Hot Toys. And then lastly, it just comes with the Justice League ramp stand. Aquaman nameplate there. For some reason mine is scratched to all hell. But whatever, I don't really use the big chunky stands in my display. I like them more streamlined. And he just comes with the normal crotch grabber here. The stand at the beginning of the video is just a dynamic stand I had in my personal collection. So this is the stand that comes with the figure. And then lastly here, of course, is the Trident. If I didn't mention, if you want to see the pack out of this figure, check out my Instagram. Same handle, Dan14th Prime. You'll see pictures of the box, and I take pictures of just layering through the box so you can see sort of what's in it and how it's all laid out. So be sure to check that out for some of those details if you're interested. Here's the Trident. It's hefty, definitely a good, I don't know, maybe 14 inches tall. A couple inches taller than the figure as I just stood it next to it. It's impressive, but given some of the staffs we saw in with the Infinity War characters, it's it's like, yeah, it's cool, but we've seen some pretty sweet staffs with those Infinity War characters. But there you got the hilt. It looks pretty sweet, some nice detail there. Then really kind of up the shaft is just plain. It's kind of like this goldish color. And then here you've got the end, and I guess I'm calling it a Trident, but Trident typically have only 3 points. This one's got 5, but whatever. Looks pretty cool up on that end. So the signature weapon of Aquaman, and yeah, pretty cool. And of course, I think pretty true to the movie. Let me give you a quick overview of articulation on this figure. Some of it's pretty good, but again, I wish they would have really nailed it and made it perfect, considering this figure, you wouldn't think should have too many constraints to it. The head sculpt here, of course, the constraint is the hair. So they sort of advise like 30 degrees per side. You could probably push it more. You're just going to start to make the hair bend and warp, so you just need to be careful of that. Same thing going down and up. You really don't get much of anything because just all the chunky hair in the back. A bit restricted on the head because of the hair. Again, the shoulder, I think I showed you. Piece kind of comes out a la Iron Man, and it's just sort of separate, just pegged in there. So you can 360 it around. You can get it all the way up, which is good. But there's no like spice up swivel or anything like that in there. Elbow, solid 90 degrees, I think. And the hands, pretty typical, you know, it's got the peg in there with the hinge, so you can spin it and hinge it. Standard Hot Toy stuff. The torso, which I mentioned was interesting and showed you with the two-piece configuration, which I don't love. It can kind of really open up and look really ugly like that. But it's what you need to get articulation. And again, I think they kind of do 30 degrees each way. But again, I think you could do more if you sort of push it, or depending on just the pose you're going for. Nothing at the waist, which I said is disappointing. Smidge of crunch as well with that upper torso movement, as well as smidge of kind of back extension. And when you come down to the legs, this is another area. Yeah, you can kind of get something like that. Of course, you're always watching the stretch in here, and then with the seams coming together. But you know, 45 degrees off of the vertical split on each side. A little bit of kind of thigh twist up there, pretty standard. You can't go as high as I would like. So that's a bit of a miss there for me. Really wish they would have let him be able to get this 90 degrees somehow with this piece, providing some flexibility. So can't do that, too bad. Going back about like that. And then the bend in the knee, I think you get a good 90 degrees. Pretty cool how the knee there kind of keeps all the armor together and keeps the knee armor there. You see the suit underneath, so that's pretty cool. The way it all comes back together, because this piece just floats over the suit. And then you got the separate boot below. You can kind of get the foot a bit up, a bit pointed. You know, a bit rocked, let's say, but definitely that boot with these chunky panels gets in the way a bit. That's it, guys. Should make for a quick video. Hot Toys Justice League Aquaman. Again, I'm strictly picking him up to complete the team. He does have some cool aspects. You look at all that detail through the suit. The head sculpt's pretty good. But still, overall for me, he comes off as just a bit underwhelming. You know, if you're trying to complete the Justice League team or you're a big Aquaman fan, pick him up. Link in the description below. If anything on the channel is ever helpful to you, easiest thing you can do to say thanks is jump through those links below to Sideshow, to Amazon. Do any of your shopping, pick up your figures, supports the channel at no cost to you. And I very much appreciate that. Check out the Instagram as well. Again, linked below. If I wanted to have a good Aquaman figure in my collection, I'd probably look at the newer one from the Aquaman movie. It's more of a classic look, which for some is kind of corny or cheesy, but I think it's pretty cool. I read a lot of DC. So I'll link that one below as well, and be sure to check that one out because you might prefer it if you're in the market for an Aquaman. All right, guys, thanks for checking in. I'll see you next time.